Did he always want to be part of your business, or how did that come to be?
Yeah, he's the one kid that always was just hands-on.
Okay.
Like the one that wanted to help me in the backyard and do stuff in construction. You know, school, he finished, you know, high school, but he didn't like being confined in a classroom and just sitting and reading books was not his style. You know, he'd be wanting to hunt and fish and work out with dad. So he's always been around a job site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really proud day.
Yeah.
It's like the day that my boys want to like come part of the business.
Yeah.
That's like a legacy.
Yeah. I
know. I think it's a little strange, but and so your wife does design. What would you say are maybe you've been in business almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And you've had to ebb and flow with the economy. And within business, I've noticed that some things are just out of your control.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's the economy or labor shortage. And it's just, those to me are the things that really test you as a leader.
Yeah.
And do you trust, like, where do you put your faith? But when you're scared and you got payroll to make, and then it bleeds into you're going to sleep at night thinking about, because at the end of the day, you got to make payroll.
Well, you have to make payroll. Man, I think for me that question's easily answered by just always going back to my faith. And I know it sounds cliche for maybe some of the people out there that don't really understand what it's like. But for me, it goes back to having faith, and it goes back to the economy is always going to change.
Right.
You're going to have turnover employees. You're going to have different homeowners with different, you know, emotions and different personalities. You're going to have, there's always going to be a political year. There's always going to be an election year every 4 years. Yeah. But it's maintaining that consistency and being able to say, okay, we're going to get through this. We're going to stick with what we know and what we, you know, I can't, although I've seen the market change, you know, and I've seen different areas to be able to go out and make some money. Yeah. At the end of the day, I want to stick to my core values of who we are as a company. Yep. Who we are, what our culture is, and being able to go out and, you know, serve and as hard as it is, you know, being consistent with the quality that we put out, our cost. You know, I think the biggest thing is just staying level-headed and not like just chase this fire and chase that fire. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, you've had different businesses, and I know that you've had some that were really successful and some that were really challenging. Yeah. But I would think at the end of the day, you just got to be calm. Somebody has to be steering the ship the right way.
And I think, what I have always been, now I'm watching my own kids and who are young and 12, 13, and the emotions are starting to come out. And I would say emotions are a good like passenger, but not a good driver. Yeah. And I think for a lot of myself as a young leader and a young business owner, I let my emotions drive me. And when I'm frustrated with something happening with an employee or something was beyond my control, I let that control me. Yeah. And it dictated how I treated people around me. Yeah. And now I'm having to like, I don't know if it's just maybe I'm tired or I've gained a little wisdom, or I've been had a little more battle wounds, but I'm like, this too shall pass. Yeah. That I cannot let this situation, one, ruin my day, but also a leader's words are like 500 pounds. Does that make sense? Like when I'm in a room with my team and if I'm frustrated and I say something, just because I'm the leader in that space and the boss, my words is like way more impactful than if I'm just off the cuff. So I'm almost have to be more mindful of the words I say.
Yeah. Isn't that hard sometimes?
I know, that's why I had a podcast. I'm like, I can say whatever the heck I want.
Man, it's so true. I mean, it really is. And I think that's probably, my wife tells me all the time, she's like, man, how do you remain so calm in these situations, you know, and dealing with homeowners, which I'm super blessed. I truly have been blessed with some great owners that we've been able to serve. But their personalities and my personality don't always mesh. You know what I mean? And I don't know what's going on with their marriage. I don't know what's going on with their job. Right. So if they kind of go off, or they're just really, it's kind of a 911 to them. I don't know what they went through that day.
Yeah.
And I just,
they're blowing you up on text and things like that. And
you know,
just like,
and it's like, okay. And I've learned this through counseling. Somebody's got to be the more mature person. Yeah. And let's just, this too shall pass, just like you said. So let's just remain calm.
Yeah.
Understand where they're coming from, because I get it. I understand, you know, where homeowners are coming from, and I want to be able to serve them right. And if it means, hey, just take 24-hour period.
Yeah.
Don't hit send on that email.
Yes.
Don't respond to that email right now. Let's wait till tomorrow.
Even this morning, I had a hard email, and I wanted to just so I typed out a email that wasn't addressed to anyone, but I just needed to get it out. But I'm not going to send that.
Yeah.
Because that 24-hour rule of when you're angry and frustrated.
Yeah.
And I'm always teaching my staff is like, when your lid is flipped, when you're seeing red.
Yeah.
And your part of your brain is, you're not thinking out of the rational part of your brain. You're thinking out of the survival brain.
Yeah.
You just
and that's where you have your education, right?
Yeah.
So and you were educated.
The psychologists are always the craziest, right? Because we know enough.
That's actually what my daughter's going to Point Loma next year.
Okay.
And she's studying psychology.
Okay. Tell her not to. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's because I have to learn to be able to not let that be my driver.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
It's a good passenger.
Yeah. That's a good passenger. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
How do you, within the years of decades of business, what's your relationship?
Thanks for joining us for the Unleash Your Purpose podcast. Be sure to subscribe, and leave a review. We'll see you next week.